Hey profs, I'm Kaitlyn.
And I'm Kynedy.
We're best friends and hosts of Rowan University's newest podcast where we highlight the ways to get involved with the 200 plus clubs on campus. This is ClubChat. Kynedy, what are we getting into today?
Well, today our guest is very generous with his time and loves to give back to the Rowan University and South Jersey community. So let's get into it. Today for our next episode, we have the privilege of sitting down with the Vice President of Habitat for Humanity's Club, Adam Hook. Say something to the people.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Period. Adam is a sophomore here at Rowan University and is a supply chain and logistics major. So, welcome to Club Chat. Thank you for joining us. Can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And so I grew up in Hillsborough, New Jersey. That's about 10 minutes away from Princeton in Somerset County. And going through my senior year of high school, we were looking at colleges and nothing was really sticking out to me. But then I went to Rowan, did the tour, and it was my mom who forced me to go. I was like, Mom, I don't want to go. I'm just going to go to TCNJ. But she was like, no, go to Rowan, and loved the campus, loved the business school, and it was great. And then I graduated high school, but I deferred a year, and I went to the Marine Corps Reserve. So did boot camp, did all that training, and then I got back, and now, although this is like my first year of college, you get credits, so I'm still considered a sophomore, and I'm like not behind. So it's nice. Great in the sense that like it gives you money, it gives you, like a motivation. It gives you a motivation to be in shape, and the time commitment, you can't beat it. It's 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer, so I'm able to do college full time, also have a part-time job that gets a little bit of money. And kind of what you were saying about supply chain, like my job in the Marine Corps Reserve is a supply chain and material management specialist. So it's something to have on the resume.
Nice. Cool. Okay, so you touched on this a little bit just now, but what kind of led you yourself to kind of choose Rowan as your new school?
So yeah, when we were looking at colleges, just nothing was really sticking out to me. But when we went to Rowan, not only did I like all the intramurals, like the athletic center and the student center, but I really liked the business school. I thought it was cool that they had the Zaxby's in there. And then when we were learning about the Office of Professional Development, where they hire people to specifically help you with your LinkedIn, with your resume, that was something that really stuck out to me. And this year, I've used it to a great extent. They've overhauled my resume, overhauled my LinkedIn, having tons of career fairs. Always loved going to those. So definitely the right choice. Thank you, Mom.
Shout out, Mom. Yes. That's Zaxby's.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's your Zaxby's order?
Zaxby's orders? So I'll usually do the meal plan. So I'll get the egg burrito. Okay. And then got to get rather a medium or a large. I got to use my dining dollars. Yep. There's only 2 weeks left, so got to use up all the dining dollars. So usually go with a cold brew, and then with some oat milk. Okay. And then we go fancy. We put the cold foam.
Okay. Them dining dollars going to work.
Yep.
That's right.
The cold foam.
Yeah. You ever try their raspberry tea?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I've not tried any of the teas.
You have to try it.
I thought I was gonna try something one day. I got the matcha, and that was my first time ever trying matcha. And
I'm not really a big fan of matcha either.
I mean, matcha's good, but you gotta find the right places. Yeah. I don't think a Mills.
I don't know why. I had a matcha slushy almost from Wawa.
What?
Don't ask why.
Why are they making that?
I don't know. I like icy stuff. So I was drinking it. I'm like, I just got to eat it now. I didn't want to finish it, but I spent my money, so just eat it.
Why that's a discussion for another day, because I don't know why they did that.
It was okay, though. It was okay. What motivated you to get involved with Habitat for Humanities? And how did you grow to become a vice president?
So I went to the club fair in the beginning of the year and just putting down my email on many of the lists, and I saw Habitat, and you think of Habitat, you think of the hard hats and the construction crews. I was like, this looks like a great cause. So I put my email down, went to the meetings. It's not a big time commitment. It's 1 hour a week. 1 hour every 2 weeks. And I went to the meetings, thought it was great, so I kept going. And then as they were transitioning to the spring semester, there was a couple e-board positions open. So they said, what about vice president? So I said, that'll look good for the resume. I like to be more involved. And so here I am as vice president, and it's been good so far, and part of that is advertising, right? Not just making flyers and posting on the Instagram account, but also doing things like this where they say, hey, Rowan podcast, what's your club about? All right, I'll fill out the form. That's probably one of my duties that's not listed to do.
Yeah, and for those who may not be familiar, what is Habitat for Humanity's overall mission and goal?
So the actual Habitat for Humanity, they're constructing houses, and what they do is the people they're building the houses for, they get them to work too. So it's almost like they have sweat equity into it too. So the actual club itself, we work alongside the Gloucester County Habitat. They have a restore about a mile down from the road, and we're working on collaboration with them. There's only so much we can do. We wanted to do a construction site project this semester, but unfortunately it starts in June. And but now we're looking at a time to work on their restore, just help them out with that. But our actual meetings, we do a service project. So one of the projects I'm most proud of is we made Get Well Soon cards for Cooper University Hospital, and that was just you leave the meetings with a lot of gratitude. You feel like you've made a difference. And I just want to say to everyone out there, everyone thinks, okay, volunteer projects, that's great, right? I'm helping others, but how does this help me? And I always say to everyone in the meetings, take pictures of what you're doing and put that on your LinkedIn, because yes, you're going to college, you're studying, you're going for a degree, but employers want to see more than that. So if you're showing that, hey, I'm not just advancing myself professionally, but I'm making a difference in the volunteer world by spending my time when I could be playing video games or whatever, and I'm instead helping, doing a service project, it looks great. It's something to have on your LinkedIn, and it's also like a paper trail, because come 2-3 years from now, I'm not going to remember what we did. Yeah. But if I go and I looked at my LinkedIn, I was like, oh yeah, I did that project on this month, and this is exactly what we did, and this is who we helped. It's a great thing to say.
Yeah.
So I know you kind of talked about this a little bit, but as a vice president, what does your role entail, and what is your main responsibilities?
So I'm working alongside our president, Philip, and the rest of our e-board. We have a very talented e-board. We have a PR person who does our social media, and we have a fundraising chair where we're working alongside local restaurants. We're trying to get a fundraiser started with Pizza Hut. And so as vice president, kind of it's a lot about communication, running the meetings, and just a lot of the communication part. So for example, the Habitat lady, her name is Sarah, and we send emails to her, we send text messages to her. She actually came to one of our meetings, and she was just talking about increased collaboration, sending out messages, making sure people are aware. And then we're doing unorthodox strategies for marketing as well. The Yik Yak, for example, we always post our flyer on Yik Yak. Everyone has Yik Yak these days.
I haven't had that in a couple years, just because it was yeah.
And then the Rowan public stories, I say, all right, we have Rowan class of, what we got, 27,
26, 26, 27, 28, I think.
28?
Yeah. So
the freshmen.
So we have 4 people for each role, and we say, all right, you're going to be the one who posts on your grades public story. So just trying to think outside the box, because while we can do so much in the meetings, it's all about attendance, right? Yeah. The more people we can get, kind of going back to that Get Well Soon card example, the more cards we can make. Another project we were doing was we were making dog bandanas, and then we were donating them. So the more people we have in our meetings, the more of an impact we can make. And you got to spread the word somehow. And yes, you could go dorm to dorm knocking, but I think that's a little inefficient. So really just using social media and just thinking outside the box. So as vice president, to sum it up, it's just communicating on behalf of our club, working alongside the rest of our e-board to make sure what needs to be done is getting done.
Period.
All right. So how does your club decide on which projects to take on during the semester?
So I forgot to mention of our service coordinator, that's actually a role on our e-board. And what they do, the president and him, they went out to an arts and crafts store and they picked out certain activities to do within our budget. Of course, you want to aim for low price activities that aren't going to break the budget, but also that are useful, So we plan, we have like a document and we go through the weeks. Thankfully, with it being bi-weekly, not weekly, it gives us a little bit more wiggle room if we have to call an audible and change it. But the president and the service coordinator usually do that. And that way, like this meeting upcoming, we know what we're going to do. We're either going to do birdhouses that we could design and then we could give to the Habitat for Humanity Restore to sell, or we're going to do the leftover dog bandana since we just have some leftover.
Nice. So when you, like with the birdhouses, you guys make that yourselves? Or like do you partner with like other clubs to do that?
So when we had the representative from the Habitat Restore, we're talking about how can we fundraise for you. And one of the things she said was, how about use the meetings to design something or to craft something that could be sold in the store. So she gave the example of birdhouses. Now, I've not done my research on how much, they'd probably be the preset birdhouses and then we would, design them, make them look nice. So we'll have to see on that.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
No, that did. Thank you. How does volunteering with Habitat for Humanity help students gain real-world skills?
So, number one, it's going to be another talking point on your resume. Kind of what we were saying before about LinkedIn and a resume. On your resume, below, your experience, you put organizations. So, Habitat for Humanity is kind of like a buzzword. A lot of people are going to know what that is. And if an employer doesn't know what it is, you can explain it, explain what they do, and employers can be like, wow, I'm glad to see that this candidate has something that sticks out, that he didn't just go to school, but he's also making a difference. And on your LinkedIn, there's also a section for organizations, and it'll have the official Habitat for Humanity logo. And again, it's something else to show. LinkedIn is pretty weird when it comes to your post because they go out to like a wide audience. It's not just your followers.
Right.
So a lot of people are going to see that. Right. And I'd always say, make sure if there's someone in it, make sure they approve of it. But just take, if this is the table where all the crafts are, little picture, little post. Hey, on this date, this is what we did in our club meeting. We do this bi-weekly and for an hour. It's great. And then lastly, I'll mention is that starting this semester, we've been able to get service hours for our club. So now when you come to our meetings, when you scan the QR code on ProfLink, it'll reflect that. So now it'll show that, once you graduate Rowan, when you get like your transcript, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it'll show the hours you've spent at Habitat for Humanity. I don't exactly know how to translate that to a resume, but if you were to say, hey, I have this amount of service hours, again, it's all about making the difference in the professional world by, advancing yourself professionally, but also making a difference in the volunteer world with all the opportunities offered here at Rowan University.
I wish I was like you my sophomore year, and that was only last year.
For real. LinkedIn look crazy right now. I just made it last year.
For real, yeah.
I said,
and nothing done.
Like a lot of people be on, what's it called? What you call it again?
LinkedIn?
Yeah, that.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I forgot. A lot of people be on LinkedIn, but then like I'll talk to like some real employers. They be like, yeah, we don't really be on LinkedIn like that. Like I feel like it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I think it's just good to have. It's not going to hurt you at all unless you're posting dumb stuff.
Yeah,
but
crazy stuff.
Yeah, that would be crazy where if you're posting like
keep it professional.
Party like
of course, but those types of posts, people think like, oh, I shouldn't post this on LinkedIn because it's not professional. Yes, it is, because it is direct experience. It's whether you're just there to help along the activities, whether you say, hey, I want to have a further role and be a part of eBoard. Now you're leadership, right? So when think about a job interview, they're like, what's the time you've led a project? What's the time you've had leadership experience? A lot of times you can call back to these club meetings. And again, it's showing that this is a good cause of what you're doing. It's not like I led my friends to go walk to Chick-fil-A. It's I led a group of 10 people in doing a project for 1 hour that helped this organization.
Yeah, I need to start treating mine like Instagram, like constantly like going through it and like editing it and stuff. Because I look at my mom's LinkedIn, she like LinkedIn famous, 500. I look on her thing, 500 plus connections. Girl, what?
Like, you say that. I probably got like 2 people.
I definitely have like a smooth like 5, 7 maybe. Yeah. I haven't checked it in like
I haven't even
months.
updated. I just keep getting a lot of notifications. I'm just like, okay.
I'm like, oh, I know you. Add. Okay.
I tried.
All right, next question. What is something you've learned through this experience that you don't think a classroom could teach?
This, for me, being the first club here at Rowan that I've been a part of the e-board, I feel like I've been able to just learn kind of what we were saying before about the communication and leadership. Now, we've all done group projects where you get everyone's phone number or Snapchat, and it's like, hey, guys, make sure you do your part of the project. But I always feel like it's very transactional in the way that, you do your project. No one's really happy about doing it. There's always that one person that's like not doing their end. So it's all, there's like a bitter vibe to it. And, there's that anxious vibe that everyone wants, the assignment to be done. But with clubs like this where it's positive, right? It's positive leadership, positive communication. Hey guys, we're doing this project. Make sure to pop out. Hey guys, make sure you let your friend know about our upcoming meeting. So positive communication is something I feel like that's very different from the classroom. Yeah. And this is not just Habitat exclusive. This is any sort of club. But again, just think about, leading a project where you have to do it versus leading a club where you don't have to be there. You don't have to be on eBoard. Right. But because you're signed up for it, because you're there, there's a much more positive vibe to it. And it's contagious, and that's why I'm still a part of it to this day. Yeah,
I think it's so much, easier to, be a part of a student club and, everyone around you has that same drive and motivation as compared to, doing, a group project where it's bro, we're just doing this to pass.
Just doing this for a grade.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Definitely a lot more
And the projects tend to be a lot more fun.
Yeah. When it's something that, you want to do as compared to, I'm not doing no project over no Shakespeare. Excuse me, what?
You're going to put your all into it.
Into Shakespeare?
No, I'm talking about.
No, I'm just saying,
oh, not Shakespeare.
Nothing in the classroom, because,
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm a good student, but we're all good students, but you know what I'm saying? It's a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
You start thinking we slacking and stuff.
Can you share a story that captures the impact of the work that you have done with Habitat and Humanities?
So I really want to call back to that time of the Get Well Soon cards from that we made for Cooper University Hospital. Again, it's take a club. No one has to be there. It's a Thursday night. You could spend your time studying. You could be going out, whatever you want to do. But we had individual students, and some of them brought their friends, and we got to all come together for this common goal. We have pizza in all our meetings. I forgot to mention that. So, well-fed people. Everyone loves pizza. And it's nice to know that these cards that you're making is going to a child that, may not be having the best day, to a family that may not be getting the best news. But your card, is a brief distraction, and it lets them know that, hey, it's not just my family, it's not just my friends. Here's a complete stranger that didn't have to go out of their way to write this card, but yet they're writing to me, and they're hoping that I feel better. So this is what we're trying to do. It's about community impact. Of course, we don't try to get too far from the idea of Habitat from Humanity. We obviously want to do service projects in the sense that we want to be building houses and we want to be doing the restores, but that's not as easy to plan, and especially during the winter. No one's doing, there's no construction projects going on. So during our meetings, how can we be making the greatest impact on the community?
All right, so aside from being vice president of Habitat for Humanity, is there any other organizations that you're involved with on campus?
So I'd like to shout out the Breast Cancer Meal Care Club.
Shout out y'all.
Which current president Emily Nelson has asked me if I wanted to be president. And initially I was hesitant because I'll get into it a bit. This club has you think Habitat has a large impact. This club has a much larger impact. I'll get to that in a sec. But when she asked me, originally I was hesitant, but I said, ultimately I want to do this because this club, what we do at Breast Cancer Meal Care Club is we collaborate with local restaurants, and what they'll do, usually do three meals a week. So 3 different restaurants, and then families of breast cancer patients will sign up their family member with breast cancer, or they could be like in an intermission, could currently be fighting. And then what we'll do is we have delivery drivers that sign up. So they go to the restaurant, they pick up the meal, and then they deliver it to them. But not only are they delivering the restaurant meal, which in itself is a huge thing because it's one less thing for them to worry about. And it's not just for them, it's for the whole family. So not only are you giving them a meal, but you're giving them peace of mind that they don't have to cook a meal for the night, right? And it's great food. Everyone loves some nice Italian food. But then the other thing we do inside the actual meetings is we make care packages. So we'll make these boxes, we'll make them look very nice, and we'll put small candles and candies and get well soon cards. So not only are we delivering them the meals, but we're also delivering a care package that's very positive and supporting. So for anyone who's out there who's done a delivery, I'm sure they can know that they can attest that seeing their faces, seeing their reaction is just priceless. It's emotional because you see the impact, right? I did one delivery, and the drive was a little bit far, and it was like 30-ish minutes. Now that's the far extreme. Most of them are a lot more local, and I was having that selfish mindset. I was like, man, it's a Wednesday. It's like 5 p.m. I don't want to be driving, right? And then I deliver this meal, and I knock on the door. I see the person, and I see her smile and her glow and how thankful she was about the club, about the service we do. And I was like, man, who am I to be complaining about a 30-minute drive when, patients like her have been suffering through so much. So again, it's all about the change you're making here at Rowan, whether it's Breast Cancer Meal Care Club, whether it's Habitat for Humanity, or I'm sure for the students watching it, there's plenty of other service-based clubs, but really ask yourself, what difference are you making at Rowan? Are you just here for yourself to get a degree and get a job? Look, we're all trying to do that. But are you also, going above and beyond to serve the community, which is not only is going to make you, feel a lot of gratitude, but it's just another talking point on an interview, right? Well, what are we here at college for? We're all getting ready for our professional careers, and you want to have as many talking points as possible. You don't want to just say, hey, I went to Rowan University, I went to my classes, and I studied, and I got a 4.0 GPA. Not undervaluing that at all, but if that's all that is, then now you're no different than everyone else. But if you say, hey, I studied, I went to all my classes, did well, but hey, I also did this club, this club, this club, and we helped the community in this way. Again, it's just another talking point, and it's going to just show your positive character.
That was,
Yeah,
that was inspirational. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to switch it up. So we normally do a game called This or That, but now we're going to do a Rowan Q&A. So it's going to be about just different places on campus, your favorite classes, stuff like that. So we're going to get started.
Got it.
So first one, what has been your favorite class at Rowan so far and why?
Intro to the Bible by Dr. Cox.
Yeah, we
like
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love her class. Dr. Cox, if you're watching, I love your class. Sorry that I'm late today, but.
She's a great teacher, though. I really like her, too. Which professor would you say definitely recommend taking?
I'm just gonna go back, Dr. Cox. I'm gonna say my marketing teacher, but I forget his It's one of those. It's a long Polish name. But hey, the marketing teacher, the principals of marketing, in the business hall with the long white beard, is Professor P. I'm sorry,
Professor P.
Yeah, Professor P.
He has the Santa beard.
Y'all know.
Put a little picture up on later.
Yeah.
All right. What's your go-to place to eat on Rowan Boulevard? There's only one right answer. It's like, I'm playing. I'll be in all of them.
We're gonna go a late night Cookie Munchers run.
What do you usually do for fun around campus or on the weekends?
So take advantage of ProfLink. I love looking for things that the business hall is running. Try to take advantage of those. If it's just in a new exciting club that looks interesting, I'll go to those. But if there's nothing too interesting, I like to get outside because, we all want a college experience, but we know that part of that college experience is sitting at a desk in front of our computers, just grinding out assignment after assignment. So after a decent amount of work, I like to rather get outside and run, especially because it's a lot nicer out, or I'll just go to one of the gyms here. They're very nice. No issues with them, and get active.
Oh, you one of those people that be jogging around?
I'm not one of the students that jogs around the actual campus. I'll jog around the neighborhoods, like where the convenience store is, right? Past the train tracks.
Yeah.
So I'll run around those neighborhoods because I don't know. Personally, like I'd feel a little weird if I was like passing people all smelly and huffing and puffing.
I'd be like, dang, they really dedicated because. Me, I don't go to the gym. I'm not running around. It's starting to get a little too high outside.
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite part about your major?
So I'll be honest. Most of the classes I've taken so far are just like gen eds and like primary business. So I haven't actually started like specific supply chain classes. So I'm gonna have to defer on that answer.
Oh.
In your opinion, what's the best study spot on campus?
Best study spot on campus is one of the lounges at Holly Point because that's where I'm at right now. I know I'm a sophomore. It's weird. I'm a first year student.
Yeah.
But one of the lounges because lots of sunlight coming in, very spacious. Personally, I've been using I've just been using my desk a lot recently just because that's like where all my stuff is.
Yeah.
All right, so before we let you go, is there anything else that you would like to tell the audience?
Well, I first want to just say thank you for having me on. I'm sure if you analyze this podcast, you could see I feel like I was a little stiff in the beginning, but I kind of loosened up. So these two co-hosts did a great job at just making me feel awesome and welcome. Okay. Danny behind the scenes here.
Shout out Danny, bro.
Did a great job. He's the one looking at the screen right now, making sure the audio is all good. But hey, he's been super helpful with communication wise. We had a great phone call yesterday. He's like, "What time works for you?" I was like, "Bro, just give me a phone call whenever."
Wait, what's your Instagram for your club?
So you can look up Rowan Habitat for Humanity, and then also I'll just plug it in Rowan Breast Cancer Meal Care Club.
Nice.
I thought you were asking for mine.
Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of Club Chat. We can't wait to meet more clubs on campus. If you're interested, check out our show notes or click the Instagram link in our bio. See you guys next time.